partly responsible for this event tonight. And I want to thank Michael for what he's done. He's got a terrific place here, and it's just perfect for poetry. And it's so terrific. It kind of sent me back to I'm old enough to remember the coffee houses of the Beat generation. So my first poem, that kind of harkens back to that, is called A San Francisco Romantic Tale. I was 20, lustful, smitten with a lithe and lovely San Franciscan. We cohabited. Our path was pretentiously arty, cheap, laden with a pleasantly blended aroma, incense, weed, musk, kimchi, oil paint, and dog. Her Cairn Terrier, Robbie, was a pest, an eater of paper, of upholstery, of my zafu, of my love's lingerie. She forgave the dog. She rarely forgave my misdemeanors. We had discussions. She had plans full of industry and education. My plans were simpler. Write bad poems about our sex life, read them in North Beach, get a free meal down on Haight Street. We parted, opposites no longer attracting.
Aww.
And since I'm old, this is an old guy poem. This too is real. Remember when our skin fit our bodies better? My memory is still pretty strong when it comes to things like that. Smoothness, fewer folds, less crustiness. Think of how we used to fuss over our public and private selves. Then time worked its magic and nothing tragic happened bodily. We grew comfortable in looser skin. We now appreciate shirts that billow just a bit, jeans that let us bend, that don't pinch our privates as we struggle to stand up straight. And that desire for youthful beauty is fading. Now we know it comes at every age, and it's been there all along, waiting to blend into someone complete and glorious. Tomorrow's our 50th wedding anniversary with my wife and I. This poem is called A Bad Winter, and I dedicate it to my wife. Winter was hard that year. We were both working 2 jobs, and our kids were suffering, feeling just as lost as their parents. Something was going on inside me, some kind of soulful sickness that took me down sad, distant paths. And one night, when sleep came sideways in gale-driven sheets, the car died as I tried to get home. She was waiting. She saw me a quarter mile up the road, helpless, put on her coat and gloves, came to me, and helped me push the old junker the rest of the way. This is called Memorial Day. 13 Legionnaires marched their old bodies down an elm-shaded avenue, proud in their dark blue uniforms, flags and rifles gripped in arthritic hands, eyes forward, yet seeing how sparse an audience this parade brings out. On they walk to our town cemetery and her wrought iron gates, take in the hillside festooned with little stars and stripes, move to a bannered platform where politicians will utter tired phrases meant to honor dead soldiers and living vets, veterans silently suffering from disinterest and broken promises. They do this peaceful job, these old soldiers, just as they did in days of fire and fear, present the colors, discharge rifles as ordered, stand at attention as the bugler plays taps. When all is done, they linger, Some in silent prayer, some just stare at graves. Then they gather their gear, climb into waiting cars, drive up the hill to Legion Post, number 1623, where they watch a Yankee game on TV, share beers, stories, laughter, and occasional sympathy. Yeah. I got another death poem. It's called Precision. In a cemetery just outside of Rwanda, New York, a stone says, Louisa, wife of Alfred, died December 23rd, 1881, aged 28 years, 5 months, 23 days. Such precision in the definition of a life. I imagine 2 more lines, 6 hours, 32 seconds. And I wondered about Louisa, and I wondered about Alfred. Was he kind as she lay dying? Did she suffer? No clues are carved in her stone. No stories in any of the stones nearby. At the Historical Society in town, the gray-haired lady could find no records, no diaries, no letters. She apologized and said, some families just faded away. I had to agree. Some families do. And my last poem, the title of this poem is, Should This Poem Have Home in the Title? And I've got a little epigraph here from a poet named Bob Hickok. He wrote a poem called Poem for the Left Hand, and a line out of that was, home is the feeling your mud wrestling days are over. So this is, should this poem have home? Home is where the heart listens to itself go on and on. Home is where homies lie down with fear. Home can be just as nice as peach pie. Home, the most comfortable place to move one's bowels. Home is on the river. Home is across the river where the grass is thick with joy. Home should be warm, but not that warm. Home where you can't go back again. Home fires, home fries, homilies, Hamburgs, home in decline. Homemaking is for real men. Home is where birds come to roost, but only if the feeders are full. Home was eaten by a rabid dog while I was working. Home is where I failed to write a satisfying line. Home is where I keep trying.